Alright, number 25. Mario compared the slope of the function graphed below to the slope of the linear function that has an x-intercept of 4/3 and a y-intercept of -2. Well, right away I see that we're basically just comparing these two slopes. And it says, what is the slope of the function with the smaller slope? What does smaller mean here? Well, slopes can be either flat, either have a slight increase or a slight decrease, or they can be in the middle, or they can be really steep. Think of a ski slope, like a black diamond on a ski slope. So this would be classified a big slope, that would be a small slope. So this would be a number for a big slope, that would be a big absolute value. For instance, -4 or +4. Here maybe -1 and 1 could be in the middle, like an average slope. And then a small slope would be something like -1/4 or +1/4. Alright, well let's find the slope of the graph that they gave us. And I just need to find two ordered pairs that are on this graph. So I see actually the x-intercept, -5, 0 is on there. And it looks like 1, 2 is on there. So those are two ordered pairs that I see. So 1, 2, and -5, 0. I could do my y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, but since it's on a graph, I know slope is just rise over run. So this is rising up 2, and it's running over, it'd be 5 to here, to the origin, and then 1 more over, so it's going to be 6. So I'm rising 2, I'm running 6, and that's going to reduce to 1/3. So that's the slope of this graph. Now let's check out the other linear function that has an x-intercept of 4/3 and a y-intercept of -2. Well, x-intercept means where does it cross the x-axis? And that's our horizontal axis. So 4/3, a positive 4/3 is right. That would be 1 1/3, so not quite to halfway. No, right about there. And then the y-intercept is -2, so that means where does it cross the y-axis? At down 2. And I'm going to connect those 2 points. And you can see right away that line is way steeper than the other line. So I know this is my bigger slope, that's my smaller slope. And the answer is 1/3. However, what if they were asking for the bigger slope? Let's just go ahead and make sure that we are covering our bases. So I know the answer is 1/3, but let's just say they were asking for the bigger slope. That means I would need to figure out if I rise 2 here, so if I'm going up 2 and over, I went over 4/3, so rise is 2, run is 4/3. If you recall, if we are dividing, we can just do multiply by the reciprocal, which would be 3/4. And then if I do that, 2 times 3 is 6, 1 times 4 is 4, and that's really 3/2, or 1 1/2. So 3/2 would be the bigger slope if they were asking, which they're not, and 1/3 is our smaller slope. All right, number 26, the boiling point of water, T, at altitude A is modeled by the function T of A equals -0.0018A plus 212. And it wants us to describe the meaning of the slope. Well, I know slope is the rate of change, also known as the rise over run. So it's comparing two different things. And here it's comparing, in every one of these, it's comparing degrees by feet. So none of your answer choices are different in that regards. They all have degrees and feet. And one other thing I'd like to point out, the 1,000 is always going to be your run. It's always the bottom number. So that's not changing either. The only differences between these are going to be whether it says increase or whether it says decrease. Well, geez, I can eliminate two questions or two answer choices right away because I'm looking at my slope and it says negative. So that means as one thing increases, the other thing needs to decrease. So I have increase, increase, well, that's a positive slope. Increase, increase, that's a positive slope. Decrease and increase, that's going to be a negative slope. And decrease and increase, that's a negative slope. So A and B, see ya. You don't make any sense in this question. So now it's just between C and D. And be careful here because it's over 1,000. And I want you to think, how do you say 0.0018? What's the correct way to say that? Well, look at 0.0018. It's named by the last place value. So this goes tenths, hundredths, thousandths, and then 10 thousandths. So your last number there, the 8, is in the 10 thousandths place. So really you can just write the 18 there over 10,000. Now look at it carefully. Both C and D are over 1,000. So just a quick little mathematical step. How can you make 10,000 equal to 1,000? And hopefully you said just divide it by 10. Because if you divide it by 10, that's the neat thing about base 10. If you divide by 10, it's just getting one decimal to the left. So that would be 1.8 over 1,000, which is answer choice D. So again, really just look at place value. It's where that last number is, and write it over that number. So 10,000 goes on the bottom. And man, it's 212 degrees hot. Look at those molecules just zipping through, bouncing off of each other.